Rob on the mic, pull a move like a holotous night. Around the Dejarik table, our crew take flight. From Lucas Galaxy, we beam like stars. Bend the milk in the cup, raising bars, no scars. This time spinning rhymes like the falcon through the castle. Never second guessing, this vibe is our vessel. George laid the blueprint, now we build the sequel. Dejarik table, fam, always keep it equal. Dave's on the scene, spit clean, keep it lean. Hyperdrive flow, hit warp on the screen. Milk from a band, the toast to the fans. We repping the culture, for rapping men. Taking the end, yo, the rhymes won't bend. Classic B-boy steez, we the crew to command. Around the Dejarik, where the strategy's tight. George, let the spark, we ignite the night. Around the Dejarik, we bring the flame.
That is the most awesome song Suno has ever written. Actually, Ken wrote that one with the help of Suno. So giving all the mad props that we can out there to the AI song creator. But as we know, it is around the Dejarik table. I may not be able to spell it, and Suno may not be able to say it, but that's what it is. So we are back with another edition of Around the Dejarik Table here on Bantha Milk Podcast. We got our 4 regulars back with us because we're missing somebody this week. Somebody named James is off having fun in Disneyland. He's actually probably in Galaxy's Edge right now, laughing at us as we're all sitting here in New Jersey. So,
did you give him permission to go?
He told me beforehand. It was written in the contract that he couldn't be here this week. So I said,
He's fired. He's fired.
Yeah, he's fired. He's gone. He's out of here. But yeah, so instead we got a great discussion for you this week, all about one specific movie. We got 4 great questions all about it.
His name's Finn, and I'm in charge. I'm in charge, Rob. I'm in charge now. We're doing Force Awakens tonight, so I figured I'd do some lines from the Force Awakens. So let me introduce, he knows what he has to do, but he doesn't know if he has the strength to do it. Our host, Rob Ren.
Rob Ren?
Rob Ren, that's you.
I get it. Well, after the B-Boy song, yeah, Rev Ren would be better there. But I like Rob Ren. It's, Kylo's cousin, maybe. Maybe I'm somehow related to Kylo. But anyway, that's fine. But coming to you live from a galaxy not so far away, the man who can quote the entire Empire Strikes Back backwards, who once tried to build his own lightsaber out of a leaf blower, and who firmly believes Han shot first. It's a Jedi Master of Trivia himself. It's Tom.
Yeah, I mean, I tried the leaf blower, and I'm like, that's not working, so I just did it out of Lego. Lego was much better. So he has the map to Skywalker, and he's going to give it to the First Order. It's Kylo Ken.
Nice. And this ain't no New York Comic-Con, but I'm so glad to be chatting with all of you. And I'm going to pass the mic over to our other Jedi here, Jedi Master David. He's the guy that can start almost every sentence with, well, in the expanded universe, ... It's up to you, David. Take it away.
The name's David. David Skywalker. Hello there. Take your seats, grab some blue milk, shuffle the Dejarik table, ignite your sabers, and steady your aim. This isn't just a podcast. It's a disturbance in the Force.
That it is. It sure is, because the 4 of us, we think we are awesome. We each brought a question. As Tom said, we are talking only about one movie and one movie only, and that is The Force Awakens. So Ken said something about an anniversary of this movie. Is this true, Ken? What could this anniversary be that you speak of?
As a matter of fact, it's one of the milestone anniversaries. This is the 10th anniversary year of The Force Awakens. And actually tonight, if my memory serves me correct, which it doesn't always, I think today is the 10th anniversary of the first trailer for The Force Awakens.
Oh, there we go.
The one that broke the internet. I mean, there was... people waiting to download this trailer, seeing that weird speeder soaring across another random desert in front of a downed destroyer.
And that's when everybody made up their own assumptions as to what was going on.
And the world will never be the same.
And the world will never be the same. That is right. So each of us brought our own question, since it is the 10-year anniversary of The Force Awakens. And even, as Ken said, the trailer coming out, we have some things that we want to ask each other, their opinions on that movie alone. So I'm going to start. My first question is, how does Kylo Ren compare to Darth Vader as a villain? What do you think of his motivations, inner conflict, and emotional instability versus Vader's stoicism? Tom, you want to go first?
Yeah, so I think if he had ended up just like Vader, I think you would have heard like a collective sigh and facepalm from the entire Star Wars universe. Because I mean, Force Awakens already gets blamed for being just like A New Hope. So I think if you had a villain that was just like Vader, I think it would have been a bad idea. Um, I actually like that he's, this bratty, whiny, impulsive, villain, and that, he's unpredictable. You don't know what he's going to do. Everybody's afraid of him, not because he's like a Vader and he's like menacing, just because they don't know what he's going to do next. So I like that he's that, I like that difference between him and Vader. And I like that his immaturity basically led him to the dark side. Just being immature, and not, not being able to handle his emotions. I just like that he's different from Vader. Vader was calm, cool, and collected, and he's just like unpredictable. So for me, I like the difference between Kylo Ren and Vader. What about you, Ken?
Yeah, that difference was quite remarkable because when we think about original Vader from that very first movie, he was just dark and menacing, and nobody really knew what was going on behind this odd, like samurai mask, scuba suit kind of thing that he was wearing, and was just the personification of dark and evil. Whereas, like you said, Kylo Ren was almost like a whiny fanboy. He wanted to have that mystique. He wanted to have that overarching, menacing kind of personality, even going so far as to craft a helmet of his own. But what we ended up getting was we saw his humanity first, whereas Vader, we didn't get the humanity until many years later and many movies later. So it was a very interesting juxtaposition of how they presented Kylo Ren as that villain. And sadly enough, I don't think Vader or Kylo Ren were really the villain of any of the movies. They may have done some horrible things. I mean, if you think killing children and an entire village, not just the men, but the women and children too, or even Kylo Ren. No spoilers here, but
It's
having
10
a
years
little,
old.
yeah, that's true. If you haven't seen it yet,
I think you're safe.
well, killing his own father, less than dumping him in a giant hole. Those things may be really bad, but I don't think they, either one of those characters, Darth Vader or Kylo Ren, was the true villain. So, what do you think, David?
When I was kind of thinking about this theme of a podcast, I was going into this kind of like, okay, I'm going to judge this movie pretending like I didn't see the next two, right? So I'm taking the reactive Star Wars fan kind of take on it and saying that, when Kylo Ren first came on and he, said a few words for the first time, whatever they were, I wasn't really super excited about it. I don't know. Like whenever I think of kind of the voice changing masks that, Darth Vader wears compared to like Kylo Ren's, like the voice just didn't seem intimidating. It didn't sound like a Sith Lord to me or something along those lines. And initially from the trailers, we saw the lightsaber with the hilt that comes out from the side as well, and thought that was pretty cool as a new concept. And then seeing him kind of utilize it, but then knowing who was behind the mask and the character, it just was underwhelming to me in a way. And just thinking of Vader, and I know we talked about this on another episode where, you walk up to Vader in person at like Galaxy's Edge, and even just standing in front of somebody who's in a costume, it's horrifying. You're just like, this dude is going to force choke me to death right now just because I'm looking at him incorrectly, And when I see Kylo Ren, even when I walk past him at at Galaxy's Edge. It was kind of more like a comedy bit. I feel like, you know, I don't know how to explain it. But there was one thing I did want to point out from my rewatch yesterday, like watching him throw that kind of hissy fit at the computers inside of the when they found out that they did not capture the BB-8 droid
left
off of
yeah.
Jakku, and he just like destroys all the computers in a fit of rage, or he just looks ridiculous to me. So it was comical. And like I said, like just even thinking about it from seeing him in person, it just seemed like a comedy bit to me.
It's funny. It's funny that you say that because going back to what Ken said, because he's trying to be a fanboy. He's not Vader. So you finding it comical actually fits to like exactly what Ken said, that he's trying to be a fanboy. He is a fanboy. So it definitely tracks.
Yeah, for sure. And like just him having that old Vader mask too, all beaten up, and you know, it just shows, you know, he's trying to be him or trying to be someone of his stature, and it's just not working, and he's not living up to the expectations that, you know, Supreme Leader Snoke has against him. How about you, Rob?
So first I want to talk about Ken saying that, you know, Han Solo fell down a pit. Why does every Empire base, spaceship, whatever it is, have a giant pit in the middle of it that somebody has to fall down? I don't understand that.
With no railings.
Without
with
railings.
no railings. Yes, there's no railings in the galaxy far, far away. They couldn't think of railings.
You got to cut costs somewhere.
No
you
space OSHA.
This is not safe. Snoke said it's okay. So I hate that. And also same thing at Galaxy's Edge, when you see Kylo Ren walking around, I want to engage him and I want him to say something to me, because I just want to like laugh and be like, ooh, you're not scary. But like you said, when I saw Darth Vader, I was like I'm hiding my Chewbacca shirt that I'm wearing. I didn't want him to know that I was part of the rebellion and not the Empire. So I agree also. I am glad David came on here and also said that he wasn't a big fan of Kylo Ren, because I felt the same thing. Like, I didn't like his whininess, and I understand we didn't want it to be the same as Darth Vader, but I want my leader to be strong and powerful and not a little whiny guy. I also didn't like just his stance. Like, and I don't know if it's just Adam Driver's stance or if that's how he was portraying Kylo Ren, but by slouching over a little bit, he didn't look as big and powerful as Darth Vader did. Like Darth Vader was 7 feet tall or whatever, and like you were deathly afraid of him. He never slouched, and Kylo marches around and he's slouching. And then I rewatched it also, like David said, and I also thought, like, this guy's a Sith Lord, and he's horrible with his lightsaber skills. Like, Rey beat him. Finn, who doesn't know how to hold a lightsaber at all, which is also interesting. They changed, if you go to the Mandalorian with the Darksaber, only the true hero could yield the Darksaber without it being too heavy and clumsy. But Finn had no problem swinging that lightsaber around like I would have done.
Okay, so I'm going to defend Kylo here. He did take some bowcaster bolts in the stomach just before he fought Finn and Rey.
But Sith Lord.
Let's really examine that part. At no point in time did they say that Kylo Ren was a Sith Lord.
Right.
Okay.
Because at that point in history, there was no living Sith Lord.
Right.
So even Snoke, who had been providing him with training, and we come to find this out later, is just a portion of a Sith.
Right. Yes. Okay. Well, then I will give him a little bit there, but he has been training somehow with a lightsaber. I don't know how. I mean, his whole purpose in life was to, like, he trained with Luke as a Jedi, and then he left because he killed everybody with his lightsaber. Presumably, I'm thinking. I think
half of the students.
Half of the students. Okay, so he was somewhat trained in the lightsaber, and then since then, even if Snoke himself couldn't do it, I'm sure they could find somebody else in the Empire who knows how to wield a sword of any sort in any of the Jedi forms. But yeah, so the fact that yes, he was constantly punching his ribs because he was in so much pain from that bolt that he took from Chewbacca. But yeah, the fact that two people who have never held a lightsaber before were able to almost outduel him in a lightsaber battle made me laugh a little. And he was a little too very temperamental. It did actually make me laugh when he was throwing his temper tantrums. Because I was like, oh, this is the typical, and the kids, David was a kid at that time, so the kids in that era were behaving the same way. So, every movie that comes out, David was a kid for, right?
Let's think about this though. How many of you have ever been frustrated with a piece of technology or something and wanted to just beat it up?
True. Yeah, I can see that. So, but I don't know. He was a little too whiny and emotionally unstable for me versus Vader's strongness and just kill them all, whatever. I mean, Vader. Well, I guess Kylo.
Look, his uncle Luke was just as whiny when he was that age.
He was. I will say that I think that's what they were going for. Was like if Luke could be that whiny and turn into a master, then why not? So, yeah, I do see that. So whatever. I just wasn't fond of his character, and even like the whole robe that he wore. I was expecting more because Darth Vader's whole suit was like so cool, and it looked like he was just wearing a robe and a mask. And I'm like, at least paint some stormtrooper armor black or something like that. Even though we know that's useless, but yeah. So so that's it. That's my answer. Tom, you have the next question, so you tell us what we're going to discuss next.
Okay, so I mean, I'm going to preface this with saying that I love Force Awakens. I couldn't wait for it to come out. Loved everything. I was so hyped with the trailer. I think I showed it to my kids in school, and I played it 10 times a day. So I really liked the Force Awakens. Did have some weaknesses, and one of the weaknesses where I felt they dropped the ball was that they never did a reunion of Luke, Han, and Leia. And I think those of us that were our original trilogy fans, that's what we wanted to see. I really enjoyed the new characters. I enjoyed the new three, but I really think they dropped the ball on having a reunion of those three characters. So my question is, how could it have worked while telling the same story of the three new characters? How do you think they could have worked in a reunion of the three main characters for us old guys? What do you think, Ken?
That's a tough one because you put a very interesting condition on it, and that is trying to keep the story as it is while at the same time making it different. And I also agree with you that The Force Awakens was one of those movies that there was just so much energy and so much hype around. I mean, this movie was a milestone for Star Wars. It was the first movie of the Disney era and the first movie with all these characters. And for my family, this was the first movie that we saw on opening night. I remember we got the tickets for December 17th, 2015. We got the first showing of this movie. We went into the theater. It was packed. When we came out of the theater, we're standing in the lobby, and our oldest stepson says out loud in front of everyone, "I can't believe they killed Han Solo," in the middle of the sea of people. So there's just so much energy around it. So it holds a special place in my heart. And to go to your question of how could they have, done something where the legacy characters got together, maybe something along the lines of they got together to go to Starkiller Base in an effort to rescue Rey. So maybe Finn convinces them all that we need to be together to go there to figure out how to get her and possibly be involved on the ground to take down Starkiller Base. We need someone there to turn off the shield generator. We need someone there to meet Starkiller Base Ewoks or something. But maybe it's the rescue mission to rescue Rey, who ultimately becomes a Skywalker. What do you think, David?
I mean, just kind of thinking about this question, I think I read it wrong initially, but just kind of adjusting to the same answer. I think I feel the same way about it in the sense that I don't really know what they could have done. Like I don't know if there's like a perfect answer. The only thing I could really think of is if they didn't kill Han so early. Like in the first movie, if he stuck around for even The Last Jedi, then you have that opportunity for that happening. Now, obviously, a lot of people were upset when they took out Han so early, but it was a huge point in Kylo Ren's story, so I understand why they did it. That was him really turning to the dark side, so we think. Now,
so we think.
Now, the reunion, I know a lot of people wanted, and like even talking to my other friends who. Out of all of my friends that are all into Star Wars, I say I like the sequels the most out of all of them, because every single one of them I talk to them, they won't even talk about the sequels anymore. And part of it is because there was no Luke, Han, or Leia reunion on screen, and then a bunch of other things as well. But that was one of the main points. So I do think if they made that happen, however they did it, it would have been huge. And I think it would have added an extra layer of excitement, and I feel like a lot of more people would have enjoyed the movies a little more. How about you, Rob?
Yeah. As you guys are talking, it just keeps reminding me. I remember seeing videos and YouTube clips and stuff of the whole cast getting together and sitting down and doing the read of the movie and everything, and they just kept showing over and over again. Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, and Peter Mayhew, and that's how you say Chewbacca's last name? I forget.
Mayhew.
Peter Mayhew, yeah.
And like all the originals, and they're like, oh, they're all back together. And if you think about it, like the last time Return of the Jedi was what, 86 or something like that, I
83.
think. 83. So that's the last time the three of them were together. Then we had the three prequels, which doesn't have them in it at all. And then now it's like, oh, good. Finally, we're going to get them all back together again. And then, Han and Leia are divorced. The stress of having a son that turns out to be the leader of the Empire or the New Republic breaks up the family. We don't see Luke at all. I'm like, when is Luke coming? We didn't ever see him at all. So I would have liked, and it would have to be, I don't want to say a complete rewrite, but even what Finn said recently, the guy who plays Finn?
John Boyega.
Yeah, John Boyega said recently, like, he would want to give them their due and give them their storyline. And it would need a complete rewrite for all three movies, basically. But yeah, I would have totally written it differently, because as nostalgic filled as this movie was, there were so many throwbacks. Chewie, we're home, to Han also saying it's all true. The Jedi, the I forget what else he said, but 2 or 3 different things. It's all true. Like it is real, because at this point nobody has seen a Jedi for years at this point. So there were so many callbacks. Seeing the Millennium Falcon was great when early in the movie, and they're like, oh, that piece of junk over there, that won't fly. And then it pans across and everybody in the audience knows, like, oh my God, it's the Millennium Falcon. Like, don't call that a piece of junk. That's so awesome, and whatever. Like, those type of things were great. Like, it would have been better even if they got Luke back to them at the end somehow, and then had, like David said, like a big push for episode 8 where they're all going together to fight Ren or whatever they're doing. But making it this long drawn out ordeal about we can't find Luke. Oh, we finally found him. Hi. And he's like, go away. And then that's the end of the movie. It's like, what? Like, I waited the whole movie. I waited so many years to see Luke grown up and strong and powerful, and this is what we get. So I would have liked it to be a complete rewrite. And then it was funny when I was rewatching it, I was like, wait, please don't tell me, because I really did enjoy this movie and I enjoyed rewatching it. I'm rewatching it and I was like, oh, this is fun. This is a good movie. I'm going, please don't tell me this is the one that they kill Han Solo in. I don't want them to kill. And I was like, oh, this is the one that they kill Han Solo in. I'm like, why? Give him another movie. And then going back to Ken saying that as you left the movie, your son said, I can't believe Han Solo died. Tom and I have seen so many movies together, and we've seen them on opening night. And every time I walk out of the theater as people were waiting in line, and I just throw some random character out there and say, I can't believe
it was always Chewbacca. It was
always Chewbacca. Okay. I'm like, I can't believe Chewbacca died. Like, no, he didn't, obviously, but like
they did scare us at one point, though.
And then it was funny in the last
I almost
movie.
cried.
We turned to each other, Rob, and I'm like, Rob, they did kill Chewbacca, but he came back.
Yeah,
he came back.
Thank God.
But with my "they always die" line, I remember my son Trey and I. He was taking karate lessons, and we're sitting in the waiting room, and it was like a Tuesday before it came out, and we were talking about how we had tickets Thursday, not even Friday, but Thursday night. We had opening night tickets, 8:00 Thursday. And jokingly sitting there, I go, yeah, I can't believe Han Solo dies. And one of the other moms goes, oh, I heard that. And I was like, what? Like, I was just making this up. Like, you can't be. I'm like, no, oh my God. So then I'm watching the movie and I'm like, please tell me it's a lie. Please tell me this doesn't happen. And then when he's facing off and he says, I need you to do something for me, I was like, there it goes. I was like, that's it. This is going to be the end of it. I was like, oh, but it was such like a fatherly moment. And like, I'm sitting there with my son sitting next to me and I'm like he knew that was coming and he still held the lightsaber and he was like, fine, if this is what I'll do this to show you my love, like whatever type of thing. So, yeah, so that's a long ramble. I'll let Tom finish it up.
With the only right answer.
Yeah, with the only right answer.
I don't think it needed big rewrites because I really did enjoy the movie a lot. It's the only sequel movie that I can sit down and watch over and over and over again. Whenever it's on, I leave it on and I watch it. I can't watch the other two. I just can't. I'll watch bits and pieces, but I can't sit through the entire movie. It's just, I really enjoyed The Force Awakens. So here would have been my changes. Leave the movie as is. I still like that they focused on the big three, the three new people for the first half of the movie. Cut the Rathgar scene, the one with the, inside the trailer or the hall or whatever it was, that big ship. That will give you about 15 minutes to go a different direction. So I think Chewie, Han, Finn, and Rey should have went on a quest to find Luke. Okay, and then found him about 2/3 way of the movie, and they get Luke, and then they eventually all go to the Starkiller base. They find a way to destroy it, blah blah blah. Now that would need a couple of rewrites. Like I like Ken's idea where, have Luke be the guy that sneaks in like Obi-Wan did to shut down a certain part of Starkiller base, and that kind of thing. And each character will find their way, but all 6 of them work together to defeat Starkiller base. I think having Luke in that as part of that would have been really, really important. And having the 3, Han, Luke, and Leia, all have a reunion, sometime before. I mean, maybe it would be on the Falcon. They find Luke, they take the Falcon back to the base. Where was the base again in that movie? It wasn't on. I don't remember what planet it was on.
Car or whatever it was.
Right
now.
No. The one like the green.
Yeah,
the one that also showed up in Andor.
Yes, and I don't remember the name of that planet. But anyway, so then they come back on the Falcon from getting Luke. There's Han, Luke, and Leia on the tarmac. I mean, just imagine the emotion, the reunion scene that they could have had. I just think they dropped the ball, and I don't think it would have. I don't think it would have taken a lot to work that in there.
Mark Hamill could have came off the ship and been like Carrie, giving her a big hug, like he did at the end of New Hope. He said her name instead of Princess Leia at the very end there, and it's still in the movie. Of all the changes they did, they kept Carrie in there, which is very interesting.
That's funny.
Yeah, but I like that idea. I like the fact of changing it up a little bit, and but not too much. So I can see that.
And it wouldn't have changed, the direction of the movies. You could still kill Han if you wanted to with the face-off with Kylo Ren. It just that reunion would have happened before then. And then the movies went where they went, which I don't agree with. But
Well, even with that in mind, the other two movies could have gone the same way. So for instance, if we look at the second one, and I know we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about it, but in the second one, it was about Rey attempting to learn from Luke. That
Right.
still could happen
That still could have
with
happened.
this reunion. It just
Absolutely.
it wouldn't have picked up in the same way on Chu Island. It would have or Octo Island. But it is the rhythm of the other two could have stayed what they were. And one of the sad parts, for the third one, there was plans for there to be much more Leia, but then the unfortunate happened, and they had to make do with what they had. But yeah, I think that idea of getting them together to do something would have been quite incredible to see.
Yeah,
I mean, because everything was billed as the Skywalker saga. These 9 movies are supposed to be a Skywalker saga. So why didn't you focus on Skywalker, on Luke?
Well, you did. You Rey Skywalker.
Yeah, that's kind of retconned in there, though. I don't think that was the original plan.
I don't think they had an original plan, which is the problem.
Can you confirm that there was
part of the problem? Right.
Unfortunately.
How do you not have a plan? I just
and I hate it more that they admitted that there was no plan. It's just horrible.
Well, the other challenge with it, if you think about those 3 in comparison to the other 6, is you didn't have the maker there. You didn't have George's hand guiding it. You had as much as I like J.J. Abrams as a filmmaker, as much as I like Gareth Edwards as a filmmaker, as much as I like Rian Johnson as a filmmaker, none of them are George. No. And because George wasn't involved in these movies, it was really just Star Wars fans making Star Wars movies.
And we've also seen the positives of that, though, with Filoni and Favreau being super Star Wars fans and the content they've created.
Look at the difference between Favreau and Filoni. Specifically, Filoni worked with George directly for a decade, whereas as Gareth, J.J., Ryan did not. Yeah. So you could say that Filoni is the apprentice to the master of George. And I still love all of the movies, including the sequel trilogy, and they do have those points that miss the influence of George. Because even when we go back to the original 3, Irving Kershner, not George Lucas, who was Richard Marquand, not George Lucas, but George was there.
He was there,
deeply embedded, deeply involved with
it. Deeply. He was over their shoulder.
Yes.
And if you watch, I don't think it was on the Disney. It might have been on like History Channel or some other documentary on Star Wars, where you find out how involved George's wife was in the editing of it. She watched The New Hope and said, no, let's throw this in, let's take that out, and she really gave it the heart and the soul that it was.
Yeah, that was the 6-parter, I think, on
Icon.
Yep.
Yeah, that was really, really good.
Yeah, they were good shows.
And look at the timing as well. I mean, for the original trilogy, there were several years in between them, whereas this trilogy, the sequel trilogy, there was only a handful of years in between them.
Happened very fast. You're right.
Yeah, they didn't have the benefit of being noodled around in George's brain for years and years and years and years. So
but they had all that time from 83 to 2000 and whatever this one came out 10 years ago, 2015. And George had this idea, but like
he said in an interview, he gave them their ideas. He gave them his ideas.
Yeah,
and he said they didn't want to use them.
They didn't want to use them.
Well, they didn't use all of them.
In the mall
they used bits and pieces of them.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's halfway through. Let me see if this is working. Oops.
It's working.
Okay. He's got to wear his 4th pair of headphones.
Rock time.
A little bit jazzier.
Pull up a chair, let the games begin. Oh, yeah.
All right, we're going to go into a commercial right after this, and we'll be back with 2 more questions.
We're talking Star Wars. Grab some band the gym. George Lucas in the house, making moves so bold.
Question 3. All right. So with the Force Awakens, we know that there was, new characters, legacy characters. However, if you could pick one or a couple of the background characters that would get their own standalone project, who would you pick and why? We'll go with you, David. We'll start off with you.
So once again, I misread the question because I guess Captain Phasma wasn't really a background character, but I guess you could say so. Well,
She's as background as Tarkin was.
Yeah, I guess so.
She
about the
turned
same
into
vibes.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, like just thinking about Captain Phasma, I think another character who was like underutilized in the series in the first movie. I know she has her own novelization, which I actually gifted to my brother-in-law a couple years ago for Christmas because he reads all of the Star Wars novels. And just kind of thinking from a visual standpoint, looking at her and like hearing the female voice come out of the stormtrooper armor, the shiny silver stormtrooper armor was pretty badass. I think something related to her would be really, really cool. Kind of getting more of her background or maybe some things leading up to the joining the First Order, which I know I was reading a little bit about the novelization on Wikipedia earlier today, where you kind of learn about how she got into the First Order by helping Hux get his ship or something like that. I was reading a little bit about it. But I'm not sure they'd be able to do live action stuff with her. I feel like it would have to be more of like the animated, like Clone Wars style type stuff. I think that would be really cool. And it doesn't even have to be fully focused on her, but she could be one of those main characters kind of doing some things. Or, you know what we can get? We can get the Tales of the whatever, Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Sith, whatever, Tales of Captain Phasma. Let's go.
Tales of the Officers.
There you go. Yeah. Tales of the Officers. And then kind of thinking of more of the background characters, and this just came to my head now, but thinking about, Babu Frick. Imagine like a short animated show, like just like 5-minute snippets, kind of like the Baymax show was on Disney Plus for Big Hero 6. Just like little missions or little things that like Babu Frick is working on. And it just came to my head like a little animated kid show. Thought that'd be pretty cool.
He would be fun. He definitely would be fun.
I'm excited to see him in what was the trailer just came out with
for Mandalorian? The
Mandalorian movie, right? Yeah. He was in there.
And it's like baby.
Yeah, can't wait to see him again. How
Yeah.
about you, Rob?
So he does look cool. I would like him. He's pretty funny. I went a little bit more obscure, and it's funny because Tom said to cut this part out of the movie when he was rewriting the script just 10 minutes ago. But I talked about Balatik, I guess that's how you would say his name. But he was Teak. He was the leader of the Guverian Death Guard. And it was funny. I just liked his accent, first off, just like got me because he was like Han Solo. And I was like, uh-oh. So like in the movie, you're like, who is this guy? And it's funny because you almost, whenever they introduce a character like this and you're just like, wait, who are you? What is going on? You almost have to do like research to find out what Wikipedia actually says about this person so that you can find out, oh, how mean is he? How bad was it? How bad of an idea was it for Han Solo to, yep, there he is. I'm looking at Wikipedia page right now as well.
I'm sure there's 5 pages about him, and he had 3 lines in the movie.
Yeah, he had 3 lines in the movie. But his in his biography, it's got associate of Solo, debt collector, runaway Rathtar's legacy, personal traits, his equipment behind the scenes. He was in Lego, one of the Lego movies or games, whatever. And then I wanted to check to make sure that I didn't miss him in something else in the movies, and he hasn't been in any other movies. But real fast, his biography is that he's a human male served the criminal Guverian Death Guard as a leader and frontman during the reign of the New Republic. During his time with the gang, he encountered the smuggler Han Solo and managed to shake several profitable leads out of him. Although Solo let the Guverians down at least once, the smuggler eventually took out a loan of 50,000 credits from the gang in order to hunt Rathars for King Prana. However, he failed to pay it back within a timely manner, and the leaders of the gang soon became tired of his delays and excuses. Less than a year before the First Order's attack on the village of Tuanul, Balak was on the planet Kada on the 45th level of the city, known as the Silver, with 3 Guverian security soldiers, blah, blah, blah. I like how they took that 2-minute scene where he was in it and turned it into a whole page of a Wikipedia page. So it's very, very creative how they're able to do that. But it was cool. I would like to see all the other things that he and his Death Gang, Gavarian Death Gang have done. Like, that would be a lot of fun. Kind of like when we saw Solo, the movie, and, you know, he's mixed in with whatever the guys.
Cloud Riders.
Yeah. You know, it's like, ooh, you know, like you learn a little bit more about it. So yeah, it could be live action. It could be animated. It could be anything really, because he was live action in this. So it would be fun if they did a whole. The problem is they're not going to do a whole movie about a character who's not a big character. You know, like they would have to build him up to that. But yeah, so it was fun. Also, we had a whole discussion in our chat about the opening scene, and I don't know, Tom, you didn't write anything down, so if you're going to talk about him, then I will stop. But Lor San-Tekka, who was the old guy in the opening scene where BB-8 and Poe were trying to hide out, but in this, me personally, I consider myself like agnostic. So I'm like, ooh, what would be an interesting religion to believe in? And he's a believer in the ideals of the Jedi Order. So I'm like, oh, it says like he's a parishioner of the Church of the Force, who lived during the New Republic era. Tekka was born in the waning years of the Galactic Republic. So I'm like, oh, I want to join the Church of the Force, because he's not a Jedi, but he believes in the Jedi ways, and he's trying to keep the Jedi ways still alive, even though he can't use the Force himself. And I'm like, that's perfect for all of us humans who have no shot of ever being able to use the Force. Joining the Church of the Force would be awesome. And you just talk about all the good things that Jedi talk about, and it will be a great thing to follow. And then, you know, none of the other religions are mad at you, because it's a whole made-up religion that has no effect on any of the other religions whatsoever. And then you can live a very happy life and not have to worry about living in religious fear of anything or whatever. So that's enough of my rambling. Go, Tom.
So was the person you wanted to show on Lor San-Tekka, or was it Velity?
Yes, it was both.
So it was both. And about how they meet and have a relationship, and then
have a
go on the
relationship.
galaxy together. And
they go out on little adventures together. One preaching the religion of the Jedi, and the other one stealing from them as he does it. Yeah,
was Chirrut Imwe with them too?
It was as well.
Well, it's funny you say that, because as soon as Rob brought up this Church of Jedi or whatever he was talking about,
Church of the Force, get my religion straight.
Chirrut, because he was kind of like that religious kind of Jedi follow. Like, he wasn't a Jedi, but he believed in the Force and the wills and all that stuff. So when Rob said that, I immediately thought of Chirrut too.
Yeah, so I can see him. I'm looking to see if it says that he's a part of it at all. But he was
a guardian of the wills.
Yeah, he was guardian of the wills, which is a different Jedi religion type of thing.
I guess it's probably a lot of them.
Yeah.
So for my person, I didn't follow Ken's directions, and I'm going with one of the big three. I think Finn would make a really good spinoff. What I'd like to see is one of the, I think Tales of the Jedi, maybe. Okay, that would be okay. But the thing I'd like to see is a 1-season Disney Plus show, live action, and broken down in the same way that Andor was in the last season. So you have 4 episodes of Finn as a child, then 4 episodes as Finn as a teenager, and then the final 4 episodes are Finn as himself, as John Boyega. I think that would be really neat to see, because he was, taken as a child, brainwashed by the First Order to become a stormtrooper. I just think that would be really neat to see his journey.
Are all of these as he's in the stormtrooper training program type stuff?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the first 4 episodes, maybe the first 2 of those 4 would be just his childhood, living the everyday life. And then the second 2 episodes would be how he was taken by the First Order. And then basically it takes off from there. Next 4 episodes as a teenager, maybe in training, some adventures here and there. And then the middle 4 episodes where he's a teenager, he starts to have doubts about the First Order and what they want him to do. and then that would continue into the last 4 episodes where he is more like an adult, which would lead into the movies where he had doubts about the First Order and what they wanted him to do. So I just think it'd be neat to explore. I don't have a story in mind, just kind of like a breakdown of what it could be. So that's mine. Ken, how about you?
Well, before I tell you my secrets, that Finn show could be built, like you said, just like Andor, where the last episode of that literally leads you into them going down to the planet to find Lor Santeca.
That would be
that would
cool.
be
Like they're on this ship as the closing credits go
that'd
up.
be neat.
Yeah, that would be neat.
It could definitely be built that way, and it'd be a very interesting watch. Like how does someone become radicalized, brainwashed, and then unbrainwashed themselves to the point where they're rebellious, or what's the phrase that he's a traitor. That's right.
Traitor. Yes.
Kyle called him a traitor.
Kept calling him a traitor.
It could be a little vanilla thinking about it though too, because like they said he had no previous like issues beforehand, like after he decided to decide, okay, I don't want to kill anybody anymore, like he was just the normal guy before that, normal stormtrooper before
issues that they know of.
Yeah, that showed up in those
they can't see inside his head.
True.
Actually, they can, couldn't they? Because they tested him, like you said.
Well, and
so he hit it really well.
There was, so the one character that we saw during that ambush scene or that assault that wiped the blood.
Yeah.
That was one of his friends.
Right.
Yeah.
That showed up in was either the novelization of The Force Awakens or one of the books leading up to The Force Awakens. And that kind of showed some of the training that Finn had gone on, showed how he could, wield a baton, which prepared him to wield a lightsaber later on. But the two greatest characters for this idea are Quiggold and Captain Sedan Athano. And if you don't know who those two characters are, maybe the name Crimson Corsair rings a bell. They were the two characters that were in Maz Kanata's castle that Finn went to when he decided he was going to, leave the rebellion. He had just left the First Order, was trying to help get Rey to the rebel base, and then decided, you know what? First Order's coming. I don't want to have any part of this. So I'm going to go get on this other ship with these other characters. The Crimson Corsair is the guy with the big red helmet, and Quiggold was his peg-legged friend, the pirate friend. So, and I know that they had a couple young, like juvenile books or young teen books related to the Crimson Corsair, but I think watching a pirate show with two characters like that could be fun to watch.
Tales of the Pirates. Let's go.
And then, who knows? Maybe come into contact with Jod Wood and his Captain Brutus or something along those lines. You never know where they're gonna land when it comes to dealing with pirates.
I agree with you there, because it's kind of like the way I felt about Balatik was like they have done so many things that we don't know about. So it would be easy to do even just like what was their last mission, like each episode can be about them going on different missions, doing different bounties, doing different whatever they're doing. So yeah, so it definitely would be a lot of fun. And there's so much openness. I mean, James and I talked about the planets in Star Wars and galaxies, and there's hundreds of them at this point. Like if you look at the galactic map, it is enormous. There's, inner rim, outer rim, medium rim. There's all these other rims and deep space and this and that. And, so there's so many places that we could explore and so many different things that we could see that any of these scum and villainy would be perfect for it. So, yeah, I like your two guys as well. I think they're all great answers. And even though Tom cheated with Finn, it would still be fun.
You just like kind of lit up something in my brain there, Ken, mentioning Jod Wood. I was just like, I forgot about the skeleton crew for a second. Like that show was so good. Oh my God.
Good.
Like,
yeah.
It was so good. Like I want to rewatch it now. I'm like, he was such a cool character.
Yeah.
And those Tales from the Jedi cartoons are fantastic for exploring those dueling characters. So you had mentioned Balatik. It'd be very interesting. Maybe there's Balatik on one side of that series, and on the other side, it's Tasu Leech, the guy from Conja Club. So maybe you're learning about their paths to being, part of those crime lords, or not crime lords, but being involved in the gangs or whatever.
Yeah. 100%. I agree. All right, we're 3 down. David, you got the last question for us.
Oh, yeah. So my question has more to do with rankings of the character. So taking that stance again, like you haven't seen the next 2 movies, right? Just making a ranking on just The Force Awakens on how would you rank the characters based purely on their potential from The Force Awakens alone? And I chose 9 of the main characters that, we see. 1 being Rey, 2 being Finn, 3 being Kylo Ren, 4 Poe, 5 BB-8, 6 General Hux, 7 Maz Kanata, 8 Captain Phasma, and 9 Supreme Leader Snoke. So I know that's a long list to rank, so you don't have to do any big explanations. Just kind of list them off, and maybe if you want to do a little blurb at the end, that'd probably be the best fit. So Rob, you're up first.
All right. Well, I'm going along with what Tom was saying, where he wants a Finn spinoff. I want Finn first. I actually liked his character in this movie as a standalone movie. I really enjoyed his character in this movie. He even at the end when we're watching and he cares so much about Rey, and we're like, ooh, are they going to get together? Is this going to be a thing? Like, what's happening? So I thought he was cool. I enjoyed Poe. I liked his ego, his attention to being like wanting to be good and whatever, and the fact that he was such a good pilot and he was doing all this like crazy good flying stuff. He was a fun character. Then I had Rey at 3. I mean, she was the star of the show, so she's kind of up there. I did enjoy her, but not nearly as much as I liked Finn and Poe. Then I had Maz. I thought she was awesome. Han Solo going, and don't stare. And they're like, at what? And he's like, at anything. And then you see her face with these 2 giant eyes and whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's what he was talking about, was the eyes. Don't stare at the eyes. And then BB-8 was a fun character. I'm still a little confused how some of these droids actually fit in it and are productive, because, I mean, I get R2-D2 as a Swiss Army knife. And he's there. He can get into any computer system and tell you what's going on. I understand that. And I get, C-3PO, he knows 19 million languages or whatever. BB-8 was fun. He definitely had a lot more attitude than R2-D2 did. So he was fun. It was fun seeing a new, different droid. So I had him next. And then Phasma, I really enjoyed Phasma, and I wrote what you guys said earlier. I want to learn more about her. And then the bottom 3 were Hux. I had Hux above Kylo just because I didn't like how whiny Kylo was, but Hux was pretty whiny himself. The 2 of them were like brothers who just refused to, get along. They were like constantly battling. And I thought it would be funny if Hux actually won the battle between him and Kylo. What would have happened then? That would have been awesome. And then I had Kylo because he was so whiny. And then last but not least, Snoke. Like, I was so confused with why the hologram of him was 30 feet big, and they were going into the room, and was he really this big? Was this really what it was? And whatever. So I was very confused about the whole Snoke thing. And as him being a leader, like, I don't know, whatever. So he kind of annoyed me there. So there are my answers. Tom, you have been frantically jotting down what your ranking of the 9 are. So go for it. Tell us what you think.
Our lists are very different. So we see these movies very differently. So I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to start with the worst and then go to the best. So I have Maz as my 9. I just didn't enjoy the character. I thought it was pointless in the movie. I think had we done the reunion of Han, Luke, and Leia, you didn't need Maz in the movie. But that's another question that we talked about.
I also, wait, real fast, I thought it was very funny. Han Solo's like, she's been here or it's been here for 1,000 years or whatever. And as soon as they walk in, the entire place is destroyed. I'm like, good job, guys. Way to destroy something that's 1,000 years old.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
8 for me was Phasma, not because I didn't enjoy the character, because I did. I just think they did the character dirty. I think they needed to show how powerful she was. I would have loved to have had her be more like she was in Game of Thrones, the actor or the actress. You know, great in hand-to-hand combat, sharpshooter with ranged weapons, but all she did was walk around with a rifle in this pose the entire movie. In fact, the entire trilogy. And I just think she was a wasted character. She had so much potential. You saw her in like the trailers and be like, who is that?
Yeah.
Like you were intrigued by it, and they just wasted it. They wasted the character.
And also
think,
when you find out, I was going to say, when you did find out that she was the girl from Game of Thrones, you're like, oh, she's going to be such a badass. She's going to be awesome.
Well, she's the Boba Fett of the sequel trilogy.
She is. Yeah.
I mean, imagine this in that first movie. She meets Finn. She takes her helmet off. Hand-to-hand combat. She whoops Finn's butt. Okay? Finn down, whoops his butt. And then he gets his revenge later on in episodes 8 or 9. That would have made more sense. Okay? And showed how powerful she was. And then later on, show how much Finn has grown. But again, wasted opportunity. 7 for me was Hux. He's just a big weenie. You know, not very scary. Could have been scary, but I think that was part of the point of the character. He was supposed to be like a big weenie who really just had to do whatever Snoke and Kylo wished. 6 BB-8, you know, oh, go ahead. Do you want to add something? Go ahead.
I was just, even though he was the spy the whole time.
Don't even get me started about that. Don't even get me started. 6 was BB-8. I enjoyed BB-8. One way or the other. He wasn't great, wasn't bad. He was just a droid. I mean, he's not one of my favorite Star Wars droids. There's so many better droids than BB-8. 5 was Supreme Leader Snoke, and I know a lot of people don't like Snoke. It's because you know what Snoke ended up becoming, which was just a stupid clone, and the stupid idea that they had a clone of whatever. I actually really liked Snoke in The Force Awakens, and I think it was, again, wasted potential. And that he was this mysterious Force user. You didn't know where he was. You didn't know his backstory. A lot of people complain, the Star Wars fans say, oh, we didn't know anything about Snoke. Fine. That's good. You want him to be mysterious. I thought it would have been a great idea. I know the fan theory was that he was Plagueis. I think that would have been awesome, that he would have ended up being Plagueis, and that, he revived himself and he cheated death, because that's kind of the story that the Emperor Palpatine told in episode 3. So I think that would have been awesome. And even if you would have wanted to bring Palpatine back in episode 9, and have that be in that whole mix of thing where that's his former master, you have Rey trying to kill Snoke. And I think it would have been great to leave Snoke in there all the way to episode 9. 2, 3, and 4, I couldn't rank. It's Finn, Rey, and Poe. They're all pretty much, to me, on equal ground. I loved all 3 of the new characters. I thought they were great in Force Awakens. I wish they had better development going through episodes 8 and 9, but it is what it is. And then my number 1, which you guys are all Kylo haters, my number 1 is Kylo. I really enjoyed Kylo Ren. He's one of my favorite villains, and for all his faults, that's why he's one of my favorite villains. So, did you guys want to add something? I saw you wanted to add something, David.
No, I was just thinking of all the different theories people had about Snoke, like on YouTube when I was going through videos. Like he was Mace Windu and all these different things. And I'm like, oh my god! But like I was so into
my favorite.
I know I was so into it after The Force Awakens because of all the excitement and hype. It's like, who are these people? What's going on? And I'm like, I have all these 20 different theories about Snoke, and then, like you said, after The Force Awakens, it was kind of like, okay, excitement. And then as the next 2 movies came out, it just kind of went down and down every single time.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
So
what do you think, Ken? How about yours?
So before I give you my answer, I got a silly question, a potentially silly question. So this was the first movie of the trilogy. So we're just being introduced to this part of the galaxy, this part of the timeline. Let's go back in time to A New Hope. Can you pick 9 characters from A New Hope that you would rank in this way?
Now you have 4, right?
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's one of the.
No, sorry, 5. You got Obi-Wan, Vader, and the main 3.
Obi-Wan, Vader, Luke, Leia, Han.
Pretty much
Would
it.
you?
I'd
Would
say
you-
to me,
Chewie?
Chewie's a sidekick.
R2D2, C3PO,
Right.
They're
Tarkin.
sidekicks.
Yeah, Tarkin. I'm just trying to think of other people on the Empire that you would put up there, but every one of them, like Vader, chokeholded into oblivion. So there's not really that many people on the Empire side. But
Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason I asked that question is because when we look at the sequel trilogy in comparison to those, the volume is so much bigger. They attempted to put so many more named characters with potential for development or involvement in the story.
Merchandising, where the real
Yeah.
money from the movie is made.
Spaceballs the
Spaceball.
flamethrower. And I'm waiting for Spaceballs 2 to come out soon.
Oh, it's so exciting.
So and the reason I say that is it's like they attempted to do so much with the sequels. There were so many different characters and different ideas and different histories and different trajectories. And so I say all of that to say I'm not going to rank them. Surprise, surprise!
Look at you,
Lando in disguise.
What a rebel! He's a true rebel. The insignia, right? He's got the insignia on his arm as a tattoo.
See, I want stories about all of them, please. Every single one of them for a variety of different reasons. You've all, mentioned some really great ones, and there's just so much that we don't know about that we've picked up here and there, whether it's in the comics or the novels, in between the movies and so on. Like Hux and Kylo, that dynamic to me is really interesting because you've got Hux who's attempting to play the leader role from the politics because he doesn't have access to the Force and that sort of stuff, and you've got Kylo who wants to be the leader because of his connection to the Force, and neither one of them can really be the leader because they both are lacking. But then you've got other characters like Finn, who starts off being brainwashed by the Empire, now all of a sudden turns on a dime and becomes the traitor who also leads the heroes to victory. So they're all in their own ways worthy. And to go back to the question, something to the effect of, I want to make sure I get this right, based purely on their potential, they all have so much potential. And so I put them all number one on the list. Give me a story, give me a novel, give me a video game that I get to play their backstory and leading up to this movie. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, David, for the only right answer.
I think that deserves a mic drop, Ken.
Yeah.
I mean, when you put it that way, I'm kind of in agreement with you. I'm always about more Star Wars and seeing more about certain characters in any sort of aspect. But I'm going to go through the list just 1 to 9 here. I have Finn at number 1. I think like a lot of points have been mentioned as to why Finn was such a cool character. I put BB-8 at 2. Now, the only reason I put BB-8 at 2 is because I feel like there was a lot of, and I'm thinking of this from, let's think of it from like a little kid standpoint. Not saying that I was a little kid when this movie came out. I was 2015.
We'll say you were like
I was a sophomore in college, right? Sophomore in college. But just seeing a new design droid, one that literally rolls around on like a ball and maintains his head still in place, I thought that was pretty cool. And I thought about like, I would love one of a remote control BB-8, Like,
do you remember at Comic-Con, they rolled him out there?
It's so sick, yeah. It's
when they introduced him, they rolled him right out on stage. People were like, "Whoa!"
Exactly. It was just like a cool concept, and I'm like thinking about it from like the excitement factor leading into the movie, like seeing him move. And in the trailer, you do see him literally sprint across the sand, running away from the stormtroopers that were on Jakku. And then I have Poe number 3 because I thought he was an interesting character coming in right away as part of the rebellion. Rey number 4, main character in the pretty much in the series. Looking at it from a Force Awakens standpoint, not from the Rise of Skywalker. Hux, and I know you guys were talking about Hux. I kind of liked him because he was bickering with Kylo a lot in the movie, and his speech too, which I think is one of the highlights of the movie too, is his big speech. Maz Kanata, Captain Phasma, which we've talked a lot about, Snoke. And I think I judged Snoke a little bit from the next two movies. I think he would be higher on my list. So I could change that up a little bit, maybe put him at 3 or 4 because of all the theories and excitement that I had about him going into the next two movies after that. And then Kylo last. I think like I mentioned earlier about Kylo, my initial kind of, initial reaction to him talking really just ruined everything for me. And I was not able to look back at it.
This has been my home screen since Force Awakens.
Oh, dude.
Tom went to the park,
biggest fan.
When Tom went to the park, he made sure he got a selfie with Kylo Ren. He's like, "Please,
I did
Kylo,
not see him.
Please stop for me."
I did want to mention a funny story. We were talking about like Han Solo's death kind of being spoiled in a way. So the way it ended up being spoiled for me, literally the day that I went to go see the movie, like a couple hours beforehand, it was this guy who was, I think, my sister-in-law's brother or cousin or whatever. He literally hadn't posted on Facebook in years. And I went back to check. It was just like his last post was from like 2013 or something, right? And he goes on and he's just like, "Don't go see the movie. Han Solo dies." And I'm just like, what? Like, come on, dude. Are you kidding me? And like, I had avoided all spoilers before that. And I'm like, no shot. Like, come on. So I knew it going into the movie and just waiting for it to happen.
That's half your fault. You got to go into radio silence before you see the movie.
I learned my lesson.
Movie, you got to wait.
Yeah.
You can't go on Facebook. You can't go on Instagram. Don't talk to anybody. Just wake up right before the movie and go see the movie.
Go talk to my college self. I would tell him, stay off of social media.
Yeah. David, did you say that he was your father's brother's nephew's cousin's
former
roommate?
Along
Is
those
that who
lines.
he was?
I was trying to imagine. I think it was my sister-in-law's cousin, maybe. I don't remember exactly who it was, but I had him on Facebook and he spoiled it.
He spoiled it.
Yeah.
Real fast, going back to Ken's asking you about the 9 characters versus the 5 maybe from A New Hope. In Jurassic Park, they had the first 3 movies, which were, the old characters were in the original ones. Then when they rebranded it, then they had the new characters, the new actors. And then they did Jurassic World Dominion, which they had all of the old characters and all of the new characters in it. And I hated that movie because there were just so many people in it. They kept mixing, like trying to get storylines and stuff, and it was just too much. So do you guys think that this had too many characters versus A New Hope? Or do you think the 9 characters that we talked about were all reasonable to be in there? If that makes any sense.
I think they were reasonable to be in there because some of the characters were meant to be balancing of each other. That whole idea of a dyad, the balance of this person's motivation is left, that person's motivation is right, and which one's going to win out, if any. So whether you look at the balance between Kylo and Rey, or the balance between Han Solo as the father figure versus Snoke as the guy who's trying to lead Kylo away. So it's a very interesting attempt to get a lot of people in there. And then there are some that we just know they're one-sided or one-dimensional. Like BB-8 is going to be BB-8. He's going to roll with the rebels. Yeah. And Phasma, for all intents and purposes, is going to roll with the First Order. What do you think?
And Rob, those aren't even the 9 main characters because you still have Luke, Han, Leia, Chewie.
Yeah.
I mean, so really you're talking about 15 characters probably by the end, all said and done.
Seriously.
Well, and you can't forget R2-D2 and C-3PO.
Yeah.
Even though they were droids from the beginning, George wanted these stories to be told from their perspective, from that perspective of the unremarkable character, the lowest of the low, to see the world and the galaxy through their eyes, and you could see some of that even in the sequel trilogy.
And they had a whole run of like being in almost every single Star Wars project at one point too, where like they made an appearance in every single.
Well,
Star
Anthony
Wars project.
Daniels for sure.
Yeah.
You know, he's been in so many things. The only things I don't think he was in were the Ewok adventure movies. I mean, he's shown up on Sesame Street. He's shown up in.
Wait, I thought he was. I thought he was in the Ewok movie.
I don't think so.
I thought like Sindel. I remember Sindel talking to him. I thought C-3PO and R2-D2 were both in that.
I don't think.
I mean, I haven't seen it in 30 years, but
yeah,
I don't know. I remember as a kid me is thinking I thought they were both in that movie.
Yeah, I don't think so. We'll have to go to Disney Plus and check it out.
Yeah.
All right. So according to AI overview, Google Meta, whatever, it says C-3PO was not in Solo: A Star Wars Story. Anthony Daniels, who plays C-3PO, appears in all other live-action Star Wars movie, although it's a different role in Solo. Does not appear in the 2018 Star Wars film. He appeared. C-3PO has appeared in the film. Other C-3POs have appeared in all the other Star Wars. Okay, so it doesn't say anything about Ewoks, but the only one true movie that he wasn't in was Solo.
Yeah, because he made a very brief cameo in Rogue One.
Yeah. The Ewok.
I mean, he was even in he was the main feature for Christmas in the Stars, the holiday music album from the 80s.
So, just a random question: The Force Awakens was released on this date, or the trailer was you were talking about?
The trailer.
When was the release date of The Force Awakens?
December 18th, 2015, but some theaters showed it December 17th, 2015.
You're gonna laugh at me, but I'm literally trying to go back on this guy's Facebook page to see this.
To try and find it.
It made me so mad. I'm in 2015 right now. January.
You're getting there.
I'm there.
Okay,
not that you're salty about it still.
I'm still salty about it. Yeah.
So AI, I also typed in the Ewok TV movie. C-3PO is not in the TV movies Caravan of Courage and Ewok Adventure or Ewoks: The Battle for Endor. So he is not in either of those two things, according to AI. And we all know
have to go
AI
back
is
and watch
never
it.
wrong. Yeah, you're gonna. It's on Disney Plus. You can watch it.
All right. I watched that movie so many times as a kid.
Oh, they were so bad too.
We didn't have the amount of Star Wars content that we have now.
No, not even a little bit. No. All right. So while David looks for that, let's wrap up the show, and hopefully David will find it at the very end. Don't forget to watch the other shows on the Ears Up Network. The Supreme Resort just came out with a fun thing, the Dirty Yellow Strap, which if you go to Disneyland, the little strap that you have to tug on is yellow at Disneyland. I feel like it's red at Disney World. But they did a serpentine draft of rides, Fantasyland Draft League, rides in Disney parks. So there's 4 guys that are drafting rides in Disney parks. It's their latest one. I'm not sure if Scraping the Vault is ever coming back or not, because they finally got into movies that they didn't really care about, and they were like, whatever, we're done. Puny Pod is still going on, all about Marvel. They're doing that. I'm also on the Hub Crow after show called Spokes, where we also answer the 4 questions that are brought up on the Hub Crawl. Ken, I gave Eric your info. So I don't know if he's going to contact you guys or not. I'm sure he will. They have a bunch of guests lined up, but I'm sure they'll be in touch with you guys as well, so that you guys can be on, and maybe they have a whole Star Wars edition of the Hub Crawl. And Ken has a couple of shows that he's on. Go ahead, Ken. Tell us all about your other shows.
So every Wednesday night, I'm flying around the galaxy with Mike Hinton on the Inflatable Falcon. When I'm not doing that, I'm bounty hunting across the galaxy with my buddy Todd. And then every so often, I put out an episode called The Rambling Star Wars Fan. And the next episode of that, whenever it gets out there, will be all about how Andor was completely unnecessary.
Whoa. Look at that. Mic drop there. All right, David, did you find your buddy's post?
So I found an aftermath of the post. He had deleted it, and he said,
okay.
I posted a spoiler yesterday to see who I could work up to use for a comedy show. I ruined everything, and a lot of people reached out and said things that they shouldn't have, but I forgive you guys.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
He forgives everybody else for being mad at him for ruining probably the most shocking event in Star Wars
Well,
history.
It was literally,
Yeah.
it was like, you ruined the most anticipated movie of all time for your friends who are fans. Come on. You had to
That's
think
the
people would
epitome
get
of
angry.
a spoil.
Yeah.
Like
I know. It's like,
Yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah,
that's where the word spoiler came from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it would have been one thing
Wow.
to be like, "Oh, you're Luke, yeah, whatever," but like to throw that one out there, that's horrible.
Yeah. I
All
was
right.
very
Can you believe
mad.
that R2D2 was barely in the movie like that?
Yeah.
While it
Yeah.
was true, I don't think it would hurt anyone's feelings to know that.
No, not even a little bit. All right, I think I can find one more of Ken's songs about. Here's another Suno around the Dejarik. Oops, I got to do it this way. Let's see if it opens it up.
I'm surprised you didn't play any of the ones with Jar Jar Binks.
This one might have it because I was going back further in our chat.
Okay.
So let's see. So on this, everybody will. Oh, before we do that, Tom, you have something to say for us.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I don't always play at the Dejarik table, but when I do, I let the Wookiee win.
Love it.
Yo, it's Rob, Tom, Dave, and Ken on the mic. Dropping lines so smooth like a Jedi strike. We're kicking it old school with a twist of flair. Around the Dejarik table, pulling up a chair. Run for milk, sipping while the stories unfold. Tales of the galaxy, shiny and bold. From the twin suns heat to the sabers glow. Let's dive deep, y'all, into the Star Wars flow. George Lucas built it.